TP, I come to you first on this. Is Jake Sullivan's answer there, do you believe believable or credible?
No. But well, first of all, when all these books are coming out, why not cancel your media appearances? Why is everybody out there talking? If you want to move forward, then cancel the media appearances and just take the L and just get over it for a while. Remember I used to say, why does President Biden never have a cabinet meeting? They never met. They went 9 months without meeting. And now you find out that anonymously, they were saying they didn't hear from Biden for weeks at a time. Pete Buttigieg just told the media this week that he didn't see anything wrong with that. But what is Buttigieg doing all the time? He was working on his own political brand and not working on things like air traffic control. Then you have somebody like Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, who could not get into the Oval Office to talk to him about something called inflation. And that they had to have talking points written for everybody in order to do that. I'm beginning to think that Lloyd Austin might have said something to President Biden about going into the hospital and that somebody forgot. And that he just was a good soldier and said, okay, fine, I'm not going to say anything anymore. I made a mistake a couple years ago and I demanded that Jake Sherman testify. But Jake Sherman works for Punchbowl News. I meant Jake Sullivan. And I actually do wonder where the hearings are about this.
You think there should be hearings about a former president?
Absolutely.
Well,
so
hello.
once they pass this big, beautiful bill, Harold, the Democrats are going to vote for. Some will get onto the hearings. And if they don't, I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. Dana is right. This book by Tapper should have been called Fox Was Right. What's really new besides the wheelchair? We knew we didn't have cabinet meetings. When they did happen, they were staged. We knew no one saw them. So why are we talking about this book so much? It just confirms everything we knew because people in the inside told Jake, all right? This kills every shot Kamala would have had in 28 because the cabinet never met her and she's never been asked about any of these revelations. So the second she gets out there, she's going to get crucified. You know what she smells like? She smells like cover-up. She'll never get it off her. And for that matter, nobody in the administration. Where's Mayorkas working right now, Harold? For the Sinaloa cartel? Where's Binder working? She was the one saying Biden was running circles around her. The whole administration is a disgrace.
Greg, you've been eloquent about the media should share more blame here. Do you still, continues to be your point as you look at all these things?
Is that some kind of racist comment?
Eloquent.
You know, this is bigger than Watergate.
Yeah.
This makes Watergate look like a parking ticket. We don't need to move forward. We have to move backwards. There was this other tidbit. Cabinet members believe the president could not be relied on to respond to a crisis at night.
Yep.
That means when Biden was president, he was pure 25th Amendment material. How do we know this? We found out on May 15th, 2025, a year or two, maybe longer after the fact. So this book isn't telling on Joe. Joe's pathetic and sad. It's telling on itself. You know, when does information become so urgent that you don't save it for your stupid book? If this were Trump, if any of this information were about Trump, they wouldn't have saved it for a book because, remember, while this was happening, Trump wasn't even president, and they were saying he was an existential risk. He was a threat to democracy. While they were saying Trump was a threat to democracy, they had an incapacitated president that they were covering up for. This is, I mean, it's insane. This story is so big that I believe the books are designed to kind of let the air out of it and just like, let's get past this. We can't let them do this. We can't. This is a huge deal. Yep. We were lied to. Look, did you hear about, like, they were doing fake cocktail parties for Kamala Harris? And get this, because they were worried that she couldn't handle a cocktail party because she drank. We talked about her being drunk all the time. They were doing these dry runs because they thought she was an alcoholic. And if we made those jokes, oh my God, she's brilliant and poetic. Oh, how do you say she's so accomplished? No, she's wasted. Look at her when she talks.
The cover-up would be one thing, but they failed to cover what we all saw. And but for Fox News, we would never have seen people crossing the border the way we did. We would never have seen Joe and heard Joe Biden. I'm so sick of hearing, had he not run, Kamala would have had more time. She didn't lose folks because of racism and sexism. She lost because of eyesight and hearing. She had a different kind of cognitive challenge where she never stepped up into that role. If you see the President of the United States is not being able to perform, if you yourself as his number two don't have confidence in his competence, you are duty bound constitutionally and practically and politically to step in. And because she didn't work hard, they had no faith in that. By the way, I'm a little tired of hearing about his physical problems. That is not the problem here, folks.
Right.
They stood at podiums.
Yep.
We don't know what was going on underneath the podium. I don't care. It's the cognitive decline. It is the mental capacity to not be able to do the job. I'm not letting any of them get away with it because they tried to ruin us. They tried to ruin our families. They tried to, they spent more time on my kids than Hunter friggin' Biden.
Lock them up.
And I'm not, you know what? I'm not forgiving any of them.
What about the pardons?
The
How can this
25th
stuff...
Amendment, you mentioned it. Greg, I read it again today. I paid a lot of money for that law degree. I'm going to use it once in a while, damn it. I read it again today. It clearly should have been invoked by people who were responsible enough in that party. And I have one last question. Why would you even want a job you can't handle? Why does your family want you in that job? Look at Trump. He doesn't need that job. He took that job because he believes in this country and the people believed in him. But I would say that, you know, the folks who have covered this up and the journalists who looked for Russia collusion for 3 years. How many times would I ask about Russia collusion? They looked for something that wasn't there. They saw something that was there and lied to us about it. Don't let them off the hook.